In the big village of Ozoemena, there lived a man named Ozoemena. He was rich, proud, and had many farmlands. But there was one thing he wanted more than anything, a son. Ozoemena's wife, Nneka, was a kind and gentle woman. She loved her husband and was happy when she gave birth to their first child. It was a baby girl. Ozoemena was not happy. She will grow up and marry another man, he said. Who will carry my name when I die? Soon, Nneka gave birth again, another girl. Ozoemena became angry. Useless womb. A woman who cannot give birth to a son is barren, he shouted at Nneka. Nneka cried, but she loved her daughters. She cared for them and taught them to be strong and hardworking. She gave birth 2 more times, and each time it was a girl. Ozoemena stopped talking to her. He refused to take care of the girls and called them a curse. He wanted a son. One day, Ozoemena brought home a new wife. Her name was Adako. She was young and beautiful. Ozoemena gave her the best clothes, the best food, and all his love. Nneka and her daughters became shadows in their own home. Not long after, Adako became pregnant. Ozoemena was excited. He prayed every night for a son, and when the day came, Adako gave birth to a baby boy. Ozoemena danced around the village shouting in joy, I have a son. My name will not die. He named the boy Obinna, meaning father's heart. He loved Obinna more than anything in the world. He built a big house for Adako and their son. He gave them the best of everything. But Nneka and her daughters, he left them in an old broken house. He did not care if they ate or if they suffered. Nneka worked hard to take care of her daughters. She taught them to farm, sew, and trade in the market. They grew up to be smart and strong. The first daughter, Ifnaya, became a doctor. The second daughter, Chidemma, became a lawyer. The third daughter, Oluchi, became a businesswoman. And the last daughter, Amarachi, became a teacher. They loved their mother and promised to take care of her. Meanwhile, Obinna was treated like a king. Ozoemena never let him work. He gave him everything he wanted. When Obinna refused to go to school, Ozoemena said, he is my only son. He does not need to suffer. When Obinna stole from people, Ozoemena said, he is just a boy. He will change. But Obinna did not change. He grew up lazy and greedy. He spent his father's money on drinking and playing. He refused to learn how to take care of the family's farmlands. And then, one day, something terrible happened. Obinna was in the town market when he got into an argument with a trader. He had taken an expensive clothes and refused to pay. Do you know who I am? He shouted. My father owns half of this village. The trader was a tough man. He did not care who Obinna's father was. He grabbed Obinna by the shirt and demanded his money. Humiliated, Obinna pulled out a knife. The market people screamed as Obinna stabbed the trader in the stomach. Blood poured onto the ground. The trader fell, gasping for breath. The villagers surrounded Obinna. They had seen enough of his bad behavior. This boy is a menace, someone shouted. He must face the king's judgment. News of the crime reached Ozoemena's ears. Before sunset, he ran to the king's palace, begging for his son's freedom. But the king was just a man. Ozoemena, he said, you have spoiled this boy. Now he has taken a life. He must be punished. Ozoemena fell to his knees, weeping. But it was too late. Obinna was locked in the palace dungeon, waiting for his judgment. Adako wailed, tearing at her clothes. My son, my only son, she cried. While Ozoemena and Adako mourned, Nneka's daughters came to the palace. They were respected women now. People whispered as they walked in with confidence and grace. We are here to see our mother, Ifnaya said. The girls led them through. When they reached Nneka, they embraced her. Mama, we are here for you, Chidemma said. You will never suffer again. But just as they were about to leave the palace, something shocking happened. Ozoemena collapsed to the ground, clutching his chest. His eyes rolled back. His body began to shake. The girls rushed forward. Adako screamed. Somebody help him, but nobody moved. The villagers only watched. The same man who had mocked his first wife and abandoned his daughters now lay helpless on the palace floor. Then Obinna, who had been silent in his prison cell, let out a loud, eerie laugh. The sound chilled everyone's bones. He stared at his father from behind the iron bars. So, the mighty Ozoemena has fallen, he whispered. Poetic, isn't it? The king's guards lifted Ozoemena's limp body and carried him outside. His breathing was shallow. His heart beat faint. A healer was called, but the look in his eyes was grim. The gods have spoken, he said. This is the price for arrogance. Adako fell to her knees, wailing. No, this cannot be happening. She turned to the villagers. Someone help my husband, but no one answered. They all remembered how Ozoemena had treated his first wife and daughters. They remembered how he had raised Obinna to be a terror in the land. No one was willing to intervene. Then, as the crowd murmured, a distant thunder rumbled across the sky. A sudden wind blew through the village, and the trees shook violently. The old priest, a man with deep lines on his face, stepped forward and pointed his staff at Ozoemena's lifeless form. The gods are watching, he said. The sins of a man follow him to his grave. And this is the only beginning. A silence fell over the crowd. And then, in the distance, a shadow moved. A dark, creeping presence, unseen but deeply felt. Something unnatural was coming. Obinna screamed in his prison cell. The spirits had come for him. He clawed at the walls, begging for mercy. But there was none. His wails filled the night as the unseen force dragged him into darkness. When the guards opened the cell the next morning, he was gone. No one ever saw him again. As for Ozoemena, he never woke up. The healers declared him dead before sunrise. The villagers said his soul had been taken by the spirits of the wronged. Adako, now a widow with nothing left, fled the village in shame. But Nneka and her daughters thrived. They built a great house for their mother and gave back to the village. The people of Umuoma spoke their names with honor, and they lived long, prosperous lives. And so, the story of Ozoemena became a warning to all. A man who despises his daughters and spoils his son invites his own downfall. If you are enjoying this story, please tell me where you are watching from on the comment section. Give me a follow, like, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.